By the way, if you can't tell the difference, those are not street legal. Those were made by hand by people who used to work at a factory that made guns. So what happened when these weapons showed up, being made literally to the same standards the factory workers had made them to, in a country where they decided to outlaw manufacturing guns and put them out of business, they declared them to be zip guns and said they were dangerous. What happened is in the country this is in, people in the area still needed to hunt or shoot dangerous game to get rid of them so that they wouldn't be harmed by them, and decided to make their own guns. And the big problem is most of them were actually gunsmiths, people who were employed at a business doing it. But they decided to outlaw any gun that isn't made by another factory. So all the people who used to make guns legally were now declared criminals. Or not. It's up to translation. So, what is the difference between a zip gun and a quote-unquote real gun? How expensive it is, and whether or not it's the company paid their taxes so that they could have the privilege of making a gun in some countries. Now, again, I'm not in favor of the Second Amendment. I'm in favor of gun control. But reality gets in the way of idealism pretty much all of the time, and that's one of the main reasons I have my channels. I debunk people who, for very good intentions, are willing to do a pious lie or a noble lie and lie to people because they think it's going to do some good. This is on both sides of the debate, if there was ever really a debate. Meanwhile, we're going to go on and look at a slideshow. Okay, there's a movie called Hobo with a Shotgun. First of all, number one, this was used in an attempted attack on a police officer, and it is a slap fire, not slam fire, slap fire shotgun. I'm going to be introducing you to this idea here. The trouble with this is there is two versions of this. But anyway, this is the double barrel one someone put together. This is as sketchy as it gets. And again, it's a zip gun because it's made from pieces of water pipe. However, if you chop up a fence post, it's considered raw material and maybe not against the law. You already figure out how it worked, but it used a hunk of wood and a rubber band back there. That's why they called it a zip gun, integrating a rubber band. That was the definition they used. Otherwise, it's also illegal because it's too short. It's a 1-foot section of pipe, two of them. If it had been 2 feet 2 inches, the fact that he tried to kill somebody with it would be the thing. Okay, let's move on. But again, hobo with a shotgun joke, and the reason for the spacing is so that the person could fire each of them separately by hitting them really hard in the back. You'll be seeing a diagram of how this exists. And warning, flagging my video for quote-unquote instructing people would help if you weren't citing me for showing an image from the FBI website that's openly available. Yes, the images I'm going to show you that may be infringing or be considered munitions, the FBI put up, or the ATF. Anyway, let's go on. Now, what is this? Well, the Victoria Police found someone near Darwin. Actually, they weren't. These are really short sections of metal pipe, and that back piece is very shiny and has some extra parts that aren't being shown. They don't want anybody to see them, but the back part was quote-unquote ordinary looking and would be easily confused with any other plumbing or other pipe. They didn't want to describe any issues with it. Number one, there's two versions of the story. One of them is someone put inside of a connector that you would put on a piece of pipe normally, like it was probably a faucet, a triggering mechanism that was hidden within it. So you'd carry that in one pocket and have a piece of pipe in the other, and that's it. Of course, the triggering mechanism was made to look, strangely, a lot like an ordinary piece of equipment you'd put on a hose. It was a watering nozzle. You put this on where you'd put normally the water pipe, and the inside of it, instead of being some valve or anything, was a trigger mechanism. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is another version of this, easily confused, had what looked like a pipe cap on the end. The trouble is, these were handed out to criminals for a fee, not $200. You may have noticed the seam on that hunk of pipe. And that version was made so that if you were stupid enough to put a shotgun shell in it, the pipe was quote-unquote rifled. Now, it wasn't really rifled. What someone did is weaken it so that it would blow up in their hands and made the back part of it dangerously weakened The idea is if you pointed it at somebody, it would take your arm off. Somebody was getting revenge on all the gangs in the area by going ahead and selling them something that would probably kill them instead of their opponents. I'm not saying, yeah, again, it's $80 at the local Walmart to buy a shotgun, America. You know, hey, let's outlaw street legal guns so that the only guns you can get are from sketchy asshats. Hey, let's make it too expensive to get dental work so you're tempted to pick up a pair of pliers. Let's move on. Now let's bring up the ATF, God help me, and the U.S. government okaying the manufacture of, the one on the left is a 3D printed, it's obvious, 3D printed or layer mastered 12 gauge shotgun shell cartridge carrier for a semi-automatic auto-feeding shotgun. And they wanted to go full ghost gun and also undetectable gun by making these things very polymer, much polymer, extra fucking fail. Anyway, and that's the better one on the right. This is after someone reviewed their work. Just want to point out something. So that's what they made. Now they deliberately removed the rim and the other characteristics that make it to where you can put a shotgun together and make it literally idiot proof. If you put a bad shell in a shotgun, it'll blow the shell up, but it won't blow the gun up. So let's take away all the features that made that worthwhile. Make a giant version of a .357 Magnum bullet, so you have a 70 caliber bullet basically coming out of a shotgun. Make it all tactical, and for some reason 3D print it or polymer extrude it. What happens? Well, this is how it's constructed, just like any other shotgun shell, right? No, it's not. It uses a fiber wadding. The upper shotgun shell components are on the left there. And, okay, that's a 12 gauge shotgun with double-ut buck, or whatever, right? Uses a primer. Hey, looks a lot like a flare gun cartridge. Also, if you didn't notice, it's slightly tapered, so it can jam fit in head space, instead of just using a rim and solving the problem. 12 gauges have been around for a long time with like 8 and 9 round capacity. So let's make our box magazine that really, really wears out quickly. Let's Glockify a shotgun. And these are reverse saboted shotgun cartridges. They fire the bullet-shaped sabot. But it's totally not a gimmick to make it to where the gun has a higher likelihood of blowing up. Of course not. By the way, there were failure to feed problems, and one of the guns blew up. So let's go on. Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. I actually looked up where the zip gun idea came from, and a bunch of people have made commentary on about this. And I just wanted to point out, it's not a car antenna in this case. That's literally a piece of metal tubing used to make locking pins for a door jamb, so you can use that bar over there to lock a door. I've used it to lock a garage door. It's what you put in the cement at the bottom and in the wood at the top, so you can have it integrated into the frame of the building, and you use what are called long slide bolts. And yeah, that literally is a completely functional gun. You can even use the other half of the one you get from the store as a partial chamber to hold a rimmed cartridge. Again, rimmed cartridges a little less prone to screw us. And there's yet another one. Yes, these are from the FBI website. So, showing FBI website equals violating FBI rule. Anyway, let's move on. Yes, that's literally a bolt drilled out or some other some damn fool thing. And this is a really old one. That's the aerial antenna from Buick or something, wrapped up with tape. And that one just has, I mean, it's almost the same thing. And yeah, it uses rubber bands, but you can also use one where you use an integrated spring in the back end, which is much more sophisticated. It's called a bolt-action rifle, by the way, or pistol. And this is the one that was shown on screen on a TV show showing a copy of one that was used in an actual incident. This one can fire, this is a multi-barrel. Now, count the hardware store items. Okay, here we go. A dowel used for a toilet plunger. A wooden block from somewhere. This here is the hinge. This is a break action. This is a hinge, an ordinary hinge. It's actually specifically a cabinet hinge, and also it could be other types. There is a door lock, and they drilled a hole in the back and put that in instead of putting a spring in it. Again, this is a little less sophisticated. And this hinges a barrel that can be, quote unquote, any caliber you can get. And it was clipazined on there with tape in this case, but you could actually make it to where it's permanently bolted in by having a casing around it. And yes, if you're not aware of it, this here, yeah, that's another type of hardware store thing for latching a gate. That's a spring-loaded gate latch to hold it shut. And this is minimally done. I mean, it's not even really required that you do these things. Hardware stores, arms race. And again, I got to point this out very clearly. Literally, you have these parts in a drawer someplace. But hey. And yes, there's a bunch of other versions of this that are even harder to detect. And if you do this as a full break action, folded in half, it literally looks like part of a, one of them that was in an FBI case was literally part of the door still. You just pulled it loose. It was the mid hinge in a door. So it was literally a door gun. Haha. This one it's the same shit. This one was made to fire who knows what. I mean, really at this point, dear bad gun maker, whatever the hell you were thinking with all these parts, you overthought it and overdicked it around. But Bear Clan apparently helped remove this from the streets. I want you to notice the other parts of it. There's literally screws sticking in the bottom of it from where it was originally mounted to something. So this was originally some sort of hecka sketchy looking pistol, and yes, that's a copper pipe. Just showing. And now we get to the pizza resistance. I knew this existed. I couldn't find a good picture of it. This is still shitty. This one uses what looks like a 20 gauge shotgun shell stuck in the body of a lock. There's a bunch of them I've seen, but this is the only one I've seen a picture of. Someone broke the mechanism in a lock you use for locking your handlebars or steering wheel on your car, and made it into a 20 gauge shotgun that had part of it slide open so you could put the shell in it. Because a lock body is made out of something a little bit tougher than most shotguns need to be. Still not safe, obviously. And again, you have to flag my video for showing pictures from a website that was run by a police agency. And yeah, this is straight from the FBI website. This is the minimalist gun. It's not disguised or anything, and it's used in prisons and such. And it's made with whatever's handy, and you had to hit the back of it hard. And it implemented some of the rules that are used for reducing your chance of being injured. And most of this is overthought because it's really easy to not do that kind of thing. Now I want to point out this one. Dear Police Department, please Google something before you feature it as a retrieved gun. At least he's not putting his thumb on the trigger. What is that? That's a camera. It's not a gun. Now, I don't know if they thought it was a gun and didn't Google it, but they shouldn't have shown the image. The person who turned it in didn't know what it was, but they figured it was a gun. This is a camera that was fitted onto a gun. It's literally a gun-shaped gun camera for making images while you're flying around doing work as a military air, fighter pilot. They put that onto a gun. It was probably on a swivel mount, but who knows. And it took photos instead of firing a gun. And it was bolted underneath the gun. The idea was to take photos of what you're looking at and then maybe be able to shoot it. And yes, YouTube is replete with these 500,000 and 1 million view videos showing you how to make sketchy, dangerous things, but me pointing out, don't do that, might get flagged. Including PVC gun. Well, at least it doesn't shoot any bad. America. Plumbing pipe. Idahoan show. Actually shows you how to do things safely. Again, you take down people showing you on their website and on their YouTube channel, showing you videos of how to make a gun that won't hurt you, and also having a very dangerous video that showed you that, yeah, specific types of pipe are safer, and also